cameraman.
It should be fine. Okay.
Okay, all right. Those of you watching, we should be okay now. We should have audio, and we approved the minutes from October, and there were no requests for additions or deletions to the agenda. There was no public input, and we're getting a report on the Historic District project.
Do you want me to review that?
Yeah, just quickly summarize it.
The committee for the Historic District project has met with the planning board. They recommended a couple of modifications we make for the warrant article. We have done that, and we are waiting to meet with them again for final approval of the warrant article, and then it'll be next heard from during hearings, probably in January.
I think they said that, yes. The public hearings, the planning board will handle it from there, that
Right.
they'll hold the public hearings. And once it's set, then we will, try to meet with people and talk about it and hear anybody's concerns about it and help them
To make sure that
understand it.
everyone understands what a liberal document it is, that it's not restrictive.
Yeah, we might want to really underline that and reiterate that tonight for folks that are listening.
Right.
That,
This document is merely an attempt to prevent any further demolitions of historic structures on the main road between Page Road and Robin Avenue, which is the residential district of the main road. And we're not telling people that land can't be developed. They can do whatever they want with their homes, their barns, and so forth. We have no restrictions about that at all. This is only to prevent someone from coming in, buying a property, and wanting to develop it, but wanting to tear down the old structure. And we don't have a problem with them developing, but we want them to leave the historic structures on Route 3A. And that was strongly indicated by a survey that was done last year from townspeople. Overwhelmingly said they wanted to see 3A stay the same. And this is the attempt. It won't stay the same because of this warrant article, because, again, we're not reducing the possibility of development on the main road. We just want to keep the old structures there as they are.
Right, they could be integrated into projects that
Into a
may
development very
come up.
nicely, right.
But we just want to be, err on that side so that we
Yeah.
can keep the older houses.
Yep. And one of the other modifications that we did make was that we had originally thought that we would say that this would only be 1 acre deep on either side of Route 3A. And we've modified that at suggestion to be only addresses on Route 3A. And that way we eliminate some of the senior communities and so forth, that otherwise we'd have all sorts of houses in there that
Right, that we don't have to
that we don't have to
right.
deal with.
And it also takes into account houses that we might want to preserve that might be a little further back from the road.
Right, that might be more than an acre
Right,
deep.
and they'll be,
Yeah.
they'll be included in it, so
Yeah.
that was the other consideration.
we also talked about, when we met with the planning board, the fact that the road from Robin Avenue to Page Road is actually Charles Bancroft Highway is the old Indian Trail.
Right.
And when we look at the responses that we got from the survey you're referencing, that's what folks, we think, are saying. We want to just keep that country feel of the
Right.
Charles Bancroft
That
Highway.
little section of the town.
Yes,
Right, and as Matt Labby brought out in the, when he made his presentation about the archaeological survey, that road has been there, way before any colonial contact.
yes.
Because it actually is the old Indian Trail that was there, and so it's very important that we keep things, as close to original as we can.
And Passaconaway lived in that area,
that region.
on the islands, both sides of the river. And so
And
that's,
owned that property on
Yes.
both sides of the river as well.
that's a historic piece of property.
Right. So it is, we feel it's important, and once everything is finalized with the planning board, we will be, hopefully running some educational meetings and things to get people who have questions to be able to, answer them for them.
We want that. We
Yeah,
want
we wanna be able to
feedback
share this info
from
with
the
the town.
public, so we can answer their questions and emphasize that this is a very straightforward, clear, non-restrictive proposal.
Correct. Anything else on the
So
historic?
the intention is to have this ready for next year's town election?
For
Yeah.
March.
A warrant?
Right. That's our goal, so that, and bring it to the townspeople to vote on.
Right.
And they said it was important to them, and we'll see, they can, say yes or no. So, we feel we have support. A lot of people have come to us and said we do have support, so hopefully we will. Anything else on that? Okay. All right, the report on the semi-quincentennial of the USA kickoff meeting. We held the meeting in October at the Fire Station Community Room. It was not televised, and as it turned out, we advertised it and we tried to, and when I originally proposed this idea this summer, I had a list of about 25 people who are interested in participating, but a lot of them, had other obligations, but still want to be counted in when it comes down to making assignments and getting committees set up and so forth, but they didn't attend the kickoff meeting, and the kickoff meeting was actually kind of small with, I think, 5 of us.
Yeah, I missed it.
But we came up with some interesting ideas, and we talked about, Stephen, you want to bring up any of those, like the time frame that we were going to consider and so forth?
Well, Revolutionary War period.
Oh, for our, what the Historical Society will highlight at the museum will be things from the Revolutionary War period. But we discussed the time frame of when we would want this to occur.
Oh, it doesn't necessarily, every place in the United States
Country.
is going to be celebrating on the 4th of July, which makes it very difficult to get anyone here, because they're going to be reserving in cities and so forth. So we may, and this was suggested by the state of New Hampshire, that we may want to think about an alternate date, the week before or the week after, when people will likely be available again. And other sites, starting in December, is when this whole thing kicks off. And there are going to be celebrations in Portsmouth in December to celebrate the capture of Fort William and Mary.
Which is really the
Right,
kickoff.
and that was a gunpowder capture that was later used at Bunker Hill.
And some of the other organizations in the state, Stephen and I had gone to a symposium last year on sharing ideas with other, groups throughout the state. And some of them will be doing various smaller events throughout the year, in different areas. So that was something we could consider, but it was, we talked about it a little bit at the meeting, and, we felt that, a lot of people in town have, relatives in other areas, and people go away 4th of July, so we thought we might get better participation, if we moved it a little, put it a little ahead and had it be like a kickoff, 4th of July celebration, and then they can do,
Yeah.
people want to go down to the Hatch Shell in Boston, or they want to go to Portsmouth or something.
Especially on this big anniversary.
Yeah, because it's a
Yep.
big anniversary, or
sense.
Philadelphia will be having huge celebrations in New York, and so people may, want to venture out and do more.
Can't compete with the big towns.
No, we won't be able to compete with them, but we could have our own things, but we
Right.
wanted to be able to get as much participation in town as we can, and we will be reaching out to the various, commissions and boards and so forth in town, like recreation, and hopefully get I talked to some people from Spirit of Litchfield, last summer about it, and see if, we may want to have something down, something in the old historic center, and then maybe they'll want to do something out at Dara.
Maybe an entire weekend celebration.
Yeah, with like
One
a
day down on
family
the
day
historic
at
center, the next day
out at Dara.
out at Dara or at the high school, and have all sorts of events there.
We talked about each of the clubs, the Veterans, the Lions Club, the Spirit of Litchfield, as you said, Marion, Recreation, Conservation, each working to have their own little celebration or activity, so that it's a real town-involved situation, much as the 275th birthday of Litchfield celebration, which was
Was.
2 days.
Right. 2 days celebration.
And, I feel very confident that at the Historical Society, we will have one of the best Revolutionary War displays of any small town in the state of New Hampshire.
I agree.
Talk a little bit about George Washington and the portraits you have. I mean, just briefly.
Well, we have a silhouette that George Washington sat for in Philadelphia, a portrait of Washington done about 1800 on cloth, silhouettes of Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin, and I just came across a plaster silhouette of King George III, because of course we're going to
Oh, sure.
want some British items there too.
Right.
Right. So that's just a
Tip of the
tiny,
iceberg.
tiny bit of what we're gonna be presenting at the Historical Society. You know, hopefully a parade would be in the works and we'll have, you know, big celebrations, so.
We talked about a cemetery tour. Did I say that?
Oh, no, but that was something we did discuss
Right.
earlier, yeah, cemetery tour, where,
And especially the old cemetery behind the church, because buried there is a man by the name of Wiseman Claggett, who was the last Attorney General for the King of England and the first Attorney General for the state of New Hampshire.
he's buried there, so, you know, and we wanna, try to get the schools to participate and maybe get some kids from the high school to get, you know, be involved in.
March and parades
Right,
and do all
so
sorts of
hopefully
things,
we'll get, you know.
demonstrations.
So we tried to set up a second meeting, but the meeting rooms are so,
Tough, yeah.
They're
yeah,
booked.
very you know,
Subscribed,
booked,
yeah.
and
Especially
Kim-
with hearings coming up and everything,
Yeah,
it's
Kim
gonna be
couldn't,
tough.
you know, give, and I thought, well, that's okay, because I think this time of year for people is just,
Well, and you have
very
to remember,
busy.
it's still 2 years out.
yeah,
So a lot of people, even though they
Right.
want to be involved in the
Involved,
committee, they're probably
right.
saying, oh my God, I don't know if I can go for 2
For 2
years.
years to- yeah,
Wait
exactly.
until we get to
Right.
closer to the date.
right,
So the dedicated ones who are showing up now can lay the groundwork.
right. And I think that we could, so I didn't press on an issue, on the issue of a date, because I thought no one's gonna wanna come in December to start working for something for, you know, 2026, so I thought we'll put that off until the new year, after we get some of these other things settled. But that was basically where we are with that. So we had a good meeting, a very good meeting with a lot of good ideas. And, you know, kind of what Steven said, laying the groundwork, setting up a little, you know, framework for how we're gonna proceed with it. And I think we have very good ideas, and it'll be a heck of a good celebration when we get.
And just in
That's
case
one.
anyone thinks we don't know our history, this portrait that was done in 1800, after Washington's death, it became very fashionable for people to do sort of commemorative things in his honor. And that's why this portrait would have been done. And there's another thing that just saying that I thought of that we have too, which is a print done. It's the first print done after Washington's death. And it's a lovely, lovely thing, and we'll have that there for display too.
So there'll be a lot of interesting things for people to, and it won't be just that one weekend, so people will have an opportunity when we're open to.
Oh, the
you know,
display will stay up longer.
Yeah, so. And that, like I said, if anybody who's
Except for
watching
insurance.
has questions about it, or has comments, or wants to add, you know, have suggestions, then please come to our next meeting and, you know, bring those forth. We'll be happy to listen to those. The next thing on the agenda is the Economic Development Committee. We had a focus group, and I reported on that at the last meeting. But we had a follow-up on the focus group where some of the people came again, some of the people that were at the focus group came again. And, you know, we kind of delved a little deeper into the ideas of, you know, that people had presented. And we came up with the plan that Jay Mancara and I think Laura Gandia are working on a presentation. And we're not meeting again until January. And they will be presenting this, that will kind of summarize everything that we've worked on so far. And I'll give a report after we have that meeting in January.
And the basis of this is to see how we can increase the tax revenues for the town of Litchfield through economic development, selected economic development, what the townspeople want the town to bring in, and who will come to the town, because we are greatly lacking in infrastructure.
Infrastructure, we're very close to the two major cities in the state, so we don't have, a big draw from other areas. We would need things that would be either locally supported or be sort of a destination kind of a
And we
enterprise.
are rapidly having less and less property available
Right.
for potential commercial
Right,
development.
and the things that the people actually said in this survey that they want are not necessarily the biggest revenue increasers. People want things like restaurants and coffee shops.
Little
and things.
coffee shop and so forth,
And
which
we're
is,
not gonna bring in major revenue, and
because we
we're
don't get a
not,
tax from it.
right,
No,
and we're
not
not
enough.
gonna get a huge restaurant chain to come to Litchfield because they're already in Manchester.
On either side
or
of
in
us.
Nashua, or even in Merrimack, so there's not, there just isn't the draw for that. So we may be limited on that, but we're just investigating all possibilities, and then, we'll make a presentation when we finalize.
And hopefully these will all be businesses that will enhance the quality of life in our town.
Right, so that may be what we're going for instead of, it'll be more businesses, but, and then there was some mention about home businesses and, assisting people that are having, businesses in their home, and how, they can get the word out that they have a home business and so forth without, because there's restrictions on signage and so forth. So, a lot of things were discussed, and it'll come out in our next meeting, I'm sure.
Yes,
So any questions on that from anybody
Yep.
about the economic development?
we'll have a lot more information next time.
Yeah, I think we will, yeah. Does anybody have anything to add for new business?
Not that I can think of.
Okay, then, and I don't have anything for new business, so if someone wants to,
Well, when is the next meeting? We want to make sure that does not interfere
Should
with.
be
I didn't look at my
third
calendar.
Thursday, Marion?
It's supposed to
Third
be the third Thursday.
Thursday, okay, so will it be the 26th of December?
Oh,
No, sorry, it would be the 19th.
19th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we're good.
So that should be
so
okay.
that should be
Yep,
okay.
yep.
All right. Okay, so
We'll have a Christmas party.
yeah,
Then we'll get some people watching.
I'll bring the beer.
So somewhere between 6 PM and 6:20, we'll have a Christmas party.
Cocktail hour to begin.
The shortest, shortest Christmas party ever. Okay, anybody make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so adjourned.
Very good.
I like the quick meetings.
Yes. Get the business done and get out of here.
It's not our record.